Okay, we are going to learn a little bit about using Audacity. Audacity is a sound editing software program that is really, really useful. So the first thing that we need to do is take a look at the tools here. And if you look at your handout, you can find what exactly each one of the tools does. There's a description on your handout. So we'll come back to those after we actually have a sound recorded. So if you have your microphone plugged in, we're going to just start with how you actually record yourself. And on the control toolbar, you have your normal, skip to the start, like a rewind. Here's your play button. The red circle is record. The two up and down lines is pause. That's a little bit problematic, that button right there. The square, yellow square button is stop, and then this is skip to the end. So we want to record, so we're going to click on the record button, and I'm just going to make a little sound sample. So here we go. It was the night before Christmas, and all through the house. And I click the stop button. Alright, so I'm going to rewind it, and I'm going to click on play, and we're just going to listen for the quality. Is the microphone in the right place? Am I cracking? Is it too loud? And one of the cool things about Audacity is you can see the actual visual representation of the sound. So you can see right off the bat, right here at about 2 seconds, it's a pretty huge introduction there to the sound. Let's see what that sounds like. It was the night before Christmas, and all through the house. Alright, so as I sort of thought, it was very kind of explosive at the beginning of that. Let's listen to it again. It was the night before Christmas, and all through the house. Alright, so that would be a really bad quality recording. You wouldn't pay good money for something like that. So I'm going to keep that so we can compare it, but we're going to record it again. Because this would play while I'd be recording the next one, we need to mute this one. Alright, so we're going to try it again, and I'm going to move the microphone further away from my mouth, and I'm going to try the same thing. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house. Alright, so automatically it looks like it's not going to be quite so explosive. This is still muted, so we're going to play, and it's only going to play this one because that one's muted. So we'll rewind, and let's listen to this one. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house. Alright, so we got that one started much better. There wasn't that surprise and that pop at the very beginning. Let's listen to it one more time. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house. Alright, now in comparison, we're going to mute that one, and we're going to turn this one back on. Listen to this one again. It was the night before Christmas, and all through the house. Alright, so obviously this is a way lesser quality. Between the two of these, we would want to keep this one. So we're going to get rid of this one. We're going to unmute this one, by the way. And to delete a track, this is track 1, this is track 2. To delete a track, we just want to get rid of the whole thing. We're just going to exit out. And now we have the good one. Now, one thing that we can do already on the editing side of things, it was almost 2 seconds before I said something. This mark right here is 2 seconds, and then there was about 1.5 seconds at the end where I didn't say anything before I hit stop on the controllers there. So one thing that you can do automatically is if you'll click and hold, and you can select all the kind of dead air. I've got my little selector tool right here, and that's actually called the selection tool. You can click where you want to start to delete, like maybe about right there. You go backwards, so I'm selecting all of that, saying, you know what, I don't want that part, and then just simply hit delete on your keyboard, and then watch, instead of this speaking starting at 2 seconds, it'll start almost at the very beginning. And when you're paying for radio time or studio time, that can make a big difference in what your total bill is at the end. So we can take out this second right here as well. Hit delete. All right, so now we've done just a little bit of editing. We've figured out where our microphone should be. Rewind. Let's listen. 'Twas the night before Christmas and all through the house. All right, now let's say that I like it. There's no pop, but I need it to be just a little bit louder. Maybe I want the word all. This is the word all. Maybe I want that to be louder for some reason. Okay, I grab my envelope tool and I click, and you can see a couple little boxes right there. This will make the whole thing louder or softer, or I can grab the whole thing and make it just a little bit louder for that part. And really with the envelope tool, it's really a matter of just kind of playing with it until you get it kind of how you want it. So that would be an example of for if some reason I wanted just that word to be a little louder. So we'll rewind. "'Twas the night before Christmas and all through the house." It's not real easy to tell, so I'm going to make it just a little bit even more dramatic. If you listen real close, you can tell that is a little bit louder. So that's just an example of how you might have wanted that. There'll be a couple better examples later. All right. Now, one of the next things that we're going to want to do is add some sound effects. And the sound effects, the best really way to do this is to go to my webpage on the school website and scroll all the way down to the bottom, and I have several different sound effects there for you. And so we're going to add an MP3. We're going to add a sound effect. Now, I would maybe add sleigh bells or some sort of Christmas sounding sound effect, but I'm not sure I actually have any sleigh bells. So we're just going to add a sound effect that I know that I have. So we're going to go to Project, Import Audio, and it's going to say, okay, where is the sound effect that you want to go to? Well, you will have saved the sound effect that you found on my website. Let's say that for some reason you wanted applause. Okay, we're going to click on applause and open, and it'll come in. This is our applause soundtrack. So you can see it's starts at about 1 second, it's about 15, so it's about 14 seconds long. We're going to mute my recording, "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," and just listen to this applause I just entered. Okay, and it kind of fizzles out there at the end. It's pretty raucous applause here through the beginning and the middle, and it kind of fades out at the end there. But let's say we want that for some reason. All right, so let's start doing just a little bit of editing. First, let's get rid of the stuff at the beginning where there was nothing, because time is money. So we're going to delete that. And then let's think about the overall. I don't want us to just start it talking right away. So maybe I want it to start with some applause, and then have my sounds, my talking come in. If I have them both play right at the very beginning, both of them are unmuted, it's going to sound like this. All right, so a couple things you probably noticed with that is, one, you couldn't hear what I was saying, and two, it made no sense to have the spoken "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" and all through the house along with the applause. So what we want to do is we want to kind of set up the applause as if somebody was coming in to maybe read that poem, and we want to grab our move tool. That's actually called the time shift tool, and we're going to grab our spoken part, and we're just going to move it over a little bit. So I'm delaying when that will start. So this would give us about 4 seconds of applause before my speaking would start. Okay? And we can use our envelope, our volume adjustment, to bring this volume down just a little bit here. And maybe bring it down a little bit here as well. So we can create this little decrescendo. That's a term that I'm sure you've already heard in music class, but a decrescendo means get softer. So we've got this real raucous applause going on at the beginning, and then right here you can see that we're bringing it down in volume, and that might still be too loud, I don't know. And then at the end I could bring it back up. So we're making way, we're kind of making a little room here for this spoken word here. So let's try that. Rewind. All right, I think that works. This was still a little too soft to hear, but I think creating this little cutout there for the spoken voice to work, I think that's going to work. So we just simply need to make the spoken voice louder. And we might not be able to really have all through the house be louder. That was just kind of a demonstration anyways on how to use this. So we're going to grab this and pull this back down to where it was, making the whole thing just a little bit louder. The whole spoken part, maybe even louder. So it's just a matter of adjusting it and listening to it, and adjusting it and listening to it, so that it ends up being how you want it. All right, we're going to try that one. All right, so it's still a little soft. So we're going to grab this inner one and make the whole thing inside there louder as well. And if we have to, we can make the applause softer as well. All right, let's try that. All right, I think that's just about as loud as that's going to go, so we're going to need to make this applause even softer. So as you can tell, this is kind of tedious and takes quite a bit of time and patience, but it's worthwhile. It's going to be a much better recording if you take the time to do this. "'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house." Much better, much better. So that's a very clear demonstration of how you can manipulate what you brought in. Because if you remember, when we first brought in this applause, let's bring it in again just for fun. Import audio, the applause. This is what it looked like. So we've manipulated that quite a bit to make it quite a bit softer in order to hear what we wanted to hear there. Okay, and to get rid of that, by the way, you just go eh. And another thing that you might want to know how to do is, if you wanted this to be, this track, this applause track, to actually be listed first up here, you can click on this little down arrow and go move track up, and it will move it up in your visual representation there. So, all right. So then let's say, you know what, I don't want this whole thing lasting down there at the end. It's a little bit too long. I think I want this to end at about 12 seconds. So we're going to just grab a hold of the rest of that and hit delete. And now that might be a little bit abrupt. Let's listen to it, of an ending. Okay, that's a little bit harsh in how that ends. So maybe we can just taper this off right down there for a little ways there. Pull this down a little bit. So it's not quite so like somebody cut that thing off. So that way it sounds a little bit more like we just faded out. Okay, so then when you're done, you simply click on File, Save Project As, and it says, we'll let you save everything